What's up, everybody? Welcome to the newest episode of UnderReview. I'm Chase.
I'm Faison.
And we got a great show for you today, so I hope you're prepared. First, we're going to start out by talking about the Eastern Conference playoffs. So, just a quick recap of the first round. We had the Toronto Raptors beat the Washington Wizards in 6 games. Was there anything that stood out to you in that series? Anything special, really?
Well, I feel like in that series, the fact of it being a 1 versus 8 series, it was very, very much contested, and it came down really to like a couple of games later in the series that the Wizards was able to overcome, their chemistry issues they've been having throughout the season. Because it seems like with John Wall and Bradley Beal, they can't quite get it together, and then have the whole team come up with them. Like Otto Porter, he getting paid, $90-100 million, and he's not, being consistent enough to be that third player on the team to help them get them over the top. So with Toronto, they're playing as a whole unit. They have like the best bench in the whole league.
Definitely.
And with players such as Van Fleet and Siakam and Portal and OG Anunoby, they're solid in all positions. And then with Valanciunas, Kyle Lowry, and DeRozan leading the way, I really feel like that Toronto can definitely be considered a threat in the East.
I definitely agree with you. I think that they're potentially the real deal this year. But first, they're going to have to get through the winner of the Pacers and Cavs series, or should I say the Pacers and LeBron series.
Right.
LeBron had
Team LeBron.
In Game 7, he had some help. People complained about.
He finally had some help.
He did. Kevin Love played pretty well
Tristan
in that game. Tristan Thompson has to start for the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
he has the experience.
The fact that he disappeared ever since the whole Khloe Kardashian episode, we ain't gonna talk about that here. But let's just say that ever since that occurred, things have not been the same for him nor the team.
They're definitely better with him in the starting lineup. Obviously, they're 2-0 now. They did win Game 1 against the Raptors on the road last night.
Yeah, it was a huge win, and the fact that it came down to the wire and LeBron coming up clutch, and then for some reason, the last few seconds of regulation, Toronto could not buy a bucket.
It was rough. They had 12 shots on that last
Van
possession
Fleet
that should have
couldn't make
went
a
in.
three. DeRozan had a couple of tips that didn't go in, and then Valanciunas had a last chance to get the ball in, and it was just coming off the cylinder, but for some reason, it seemed like the cover was on top of it, so it was meant for Cleveland to win.
I guess so. I think it's going to be a great series. Going back to talking about the first round, the Cavs and Pacers, it was a great series. Oladipo showed up.
Lance Stevenson stepped up huge for Indiana, and then he really got under LeBron's skin. I really feel like for Indiana, with Stevenson, when he's playing at his best and not just being crazy, but also being able to channel that aggression and that energy towards the team, and then be able to, to do some things that, for the other players that they have, like with Oladipo and Miles Turner, give them some room to be able to do what they have to do and not feel like they have to do all the other things like the dirty work that Stevenson does. It really helped them out in that series.
Oh, definitely. People hate Lance Stevenson, and I understand why.
I loved him.
I love
crazy
Lance. His whole career,
Lance
it seems like his whole career has been pestering LeBron, but it's working. For so long, LeBron would just be the bigger person or whatever, and he wouldn't.
I know more. LeBron had enough. It's true.
So I don't know. He got in his head, and nobody's ever gotten in LeBron's head like that before.
Never.
And I mean, LeBron had to be Superman to win that series, so it wasn't looking good for the Cavs. But
the crazy statistic that I'm not sure y'all know, I'm pretty sure y'all might be aware just from the outside looking in. But the fact that no Cleveland player up until the end of the series has scored any more than 20 points besides LeBron is unheard of for a team that for the last 3 years have been going to the finals. And now this year, they're down all the way to the 4th seed that, they struggled, in the 7-game series against Indiana.
And actually, no player scored 20 besides LeBron in that whole series. Not until Game 1 against Toronto last night was the first time, and it was J.R. Smith. Was the first one to score 20 points.
And they're gonna have to step it up a lot for here on out.
So the Cavs are up 1-0 on the road against Toronto. What do you think about the rest of that series?
Well,
how do you feel about it?
I feel like game 2 tomorrow night. Well, this is going to be happening right now as it being Wednesday.
Yeah.
But
whenever
in terms
this is
of
out.
Thursday, for Thursday night, I believe that it's going to be a huge game for Toronto. Toronto's going to have to win at home in order to reestablish their ability to play on the court and let LeBron know that they're not going to be stepped on year after year after year, because it seems like that Indiana and Toronto, LeBron's always have been the kryptonite, regardless of where he's at, whether it's in Miami or in Cleveland.
Yep.
And really, if they can get over LeBron, those teams, in this case, Toronto, will have a realistic chance to get to the finals. So they need to get it together. DeRozan going to have to be huge and have to be more assertive in the games. And in the matchups that they have, like Kyle Lowry guarding LeBron, that is not a matchup that you want to have. Like, no, you're going to have someone bigger to guard LeBron at the end of games and not allow LeBron to be able to oversee the court and then, go at will.
Definitely. And really, I think the biggest key for Cleveland is obviously going to be their role players. I think, LeBron, he's going to get his. He didn't play that well last night, if we're being honest. But, I mean, he's still got a triple-double in the win.
Yeah, quietly.
Yeah. But, anyway, LeBron, he's going to be LeBron. But he's got to have J.R. Smith, Tristan Thompson, somebody like Jordan Clarkson.
He's going to have to at least have 2 of the top 3 players in either like Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith, or Kevin Love to have a solid game.
Exactly. And I think that if they can show up the way that they did in Game 1, I think Cleveland can take this series pretty easily. Only because
I don't know.
When I say easily, I don't mean like a sweep, but they've already stolen home court back, and they're in the Raptors' heads. They always have been.
They are in the Raptors' heads.
And if Toronto doesn't get it together, it could get ugly fast, I guess is what I was trying to say.
I agree with you.
If the Cavs win Game 2 in Toronto, it's over. The series won't be over.
Close. It's going to be on the verge of disaster.
Exactly. It's going to be very hard for them to overcome Cleveland going home with 2 games. So what's your prediction for this series? What do you think?
I mean, I'm rooting for Toronto to win in 7. It's gonna come down to Game 2. If Toronto can reestablish the order and be able to win Game 2, I believe Toronto will still win the series in 7. But with an asterisk, Cleveland win tomorrow, I think Cleveland will end up winning in 6.
That's what my prediction is. I'm wearing the same shirt that I wore last time. That was just coincidence. Because they won last night. They won last night, so I had to wear the shirt today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking the Cavs in 6. Honestly, if they had lost Game 1, I probably would have picked them in 7. But stealing home court back, I think they'll lose Game 2, and I think they can win 2 back at home. Go up 3-1, lose on the road, and come back home to Cleveland and win Game 6 is what and really I think that this series is. I'm not counting any of the other teams. I'm not counting Boston or Philadelphia out, but I feel like this is more of the Eastern Conference Finals level matchup. Really, I think the winner of this series should be the favorite to make the finals. If the Cavs can get it together and beat Toronto, then they can beat Boston or Philly. And I think if Toronto gets it together, I think they're the best. They're the best built team in the East right now as a whole. Philadelphia and Boston are young and missing key players in Boston and everything. But speaking of, let's get on to that. Philadelphia beat Miami 4-1 in the first round. Anything there? That series was pretty easy. Dwayne Wade showed up. He
did for a couple games. He looked like the old Dwayne Wade, not necessarily the old Dwayne Wade as in showing his age, but actually being his young self.
Vintage D Wade. But it wasn't enough. We all knew Philly was going to win that series.
Yeah, they had more talent from top to bottom with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons leading the way. Simmons averaging almost a triple-double in the series, and then Embiid coming into the series. Was it about, I think
it was Game 3.
Yeah, whenever they first came to Miami.
They didn't lose once he came in. So
yeah, it really got reestablished order, and then Embiid, not even playing for nearly a month, coming back on the court and just taking over. And Simmons, he has grown so much while Embiid was gone that he allowed him to be able to sprout his wings and then really put his imprint all over the team.
It's weird because injuries are never a good thing, but they can be beneficial, I guess.
I think it was a blessing in disguise.
It's the lack of Embiid being there really let Ben Simmons grow a lot and really become the focal point and the leader of these guys. They went on a win streak without Embiid, so then you kind of insert Embiid back in there, and it just works, man.
Right.
They're scary.
And then the only thing is holding Simmons from being as great of a player as he is now to being that next level is a jump shot. Like if he gets a jump shot,
it's over.
The Fresh Prince is about to be the next version of King James for this generation.
He's gonna be really. People compare LeBron to Magic. I think Ben Simmons is gonna be right in the middle. He's gonna be a Magic LeBron type hybrid.
Yeah,
at his best,
and that
obviously.
Is scary. That's scary.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Speaking of injuries and young teams and such, Boston Celtics were able to beat the Milwaukee Bucks in 7 games.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous that they're even competing, but I never counted them out. I picked them in 7 against I was scared of the matchup problems.
You did.
I did pick Boston in 7. I was right. People got way too high on them when they went up 2-0. They said, "Oh, Boston's going to sweep us."
And Milwaukee really brought it.
And then they say, "Oh,
the Greek Freak and Bledsoe and Middleton."
Who?
Middleton, Chris Middleton in particular. I know you don't want to acknowledge him, but
never heard of him.
Man, he came up huge.
Talking about Middleton?
Milwaukee. Yes.
Underrated, man.
Man, just clutch shot, and then he. Outside of the Greek Freak, he was the most consistent player on that team,
Definitely.
averaging 20.
He averaged what? Yeah, I was about to say he averaged over 20 for that series.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. You put him on the Cavs,
they'd
beat the Pacers in 5, man.
That's the player that they're missing. They missing that second scorer to get pressure off of LeBron.
But anyway, Boston, they were able to survive. Terry Rozier, Al Horford, Jaylen Brown, Jason
Rozier
Tatum.
looked like Kyrie. Not
Scary
necessarily
Terry.
Kyrie level, but woo-wee. Man, he came with it. He made himself. He gonna make himself some money in the future. Either staying in Boston or ended up going somewhere else. That he's gonna be a significant role player, either being like a 6th man or even a starter. The way he played since Kyrie went down towards the end of the regular season has been highly impressive, and I think he can maintain this level going forward.
I really hope that we're able to find a role for him, hold on to him somehow. I don't want to see him in any other uniform but a Boston uniform.
It just ain't right.
I love him, man. It's perfect.
They're the ones that brought him into the fold, and Steven acknowledged his talent and made sure that you could see the growth in him. And now look at him. It's like Django Unchained. He's been freed, and now he's going ham.
I like that comparison. That's pretty cool. But speaking of the injuries and whatever, it sucks that Kyrie's gone. It sucks that Gordon Hayward's gone.
And now Jaylen Brown. Unfortunately, at the end of the series, man,
pulled that hammy in Game 7.
Unexpected, very unexpected.
But really, through all that, with Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving, nobody's keeping us from going to the finals to get swept by Golden State. But we might win a game. I don't know. We'll talk about them later coming up. But it's really kind of one of those blessings in disguise like we were talking about. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, and Jaylen's out now, so the others have to pick up more of the slack. But they're not supposed to be the go-to guys yet. They're supposed to be the young role players right now, but they're having to step up in the playoffs and win playoff series against superstars. First Giannis, and now they're playing Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. There's no such thing as bad playoff experience for a young player.
Right.
So Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown are getting better quicker than we expected. And I think that that's going to be deadly for our Celtics going forward. So they got the Sixers this round. They're up 1-0. They won at home. Boston hasn't lost a home playoff game yet, but they haven't won one on the road. So they're up 1-0. What are your expectations for that series?
Well, I believe that going forward, Philadelphia, I think it was a matter of rest was the reason why they weren't able to come out and play like they should in Game 1. That
rest versus rust.
It was kind of a letdown. That the fact that they were able to be consistent, and even Joel Embiid in the post conference after the game, he acknowledged that they didn't really bring enough, and he pointed himself out as one of the primary reasons why, because of he's supposed to be considered one of the best defensive players in the league.
Yeah.
And he knows that he got to get himself in order, and he need to he's the energizer bunny for that team. So going forward, I think that Embiid will be able to right the ship and reassert his dominance in the paint and give Horford the business. And then with Ben Simmons is going to he's 6'10". I mean, there's no one on that court for Boston that's going to be able to guard him, and so he's going to be able to do what he wants. But the thing is, with Boston, they're gonna have to make him start shooting from outside.
Yeah,
they can't let him come in. And with Boston being one of the better defensive players in the league, it's gonna make it more difficult for Simmons. But at the end of the day, I have to believe that Philadelphia is going to somehow come through and win in 7. But it's going to be close. Like, they're going to have to really bring that energy every game, because with someone like Brad Stevens on the sidelines, he's going to be able to give Boston the best chance to win, regardless of whoever they have on the court. And with people like Marcus Smart, man, he's feisty. And really,
I love Marcus Smart, man. I love him.
Like J.J. Redick, Dario Saric, Robert Covington. I mean, Philadelphia has so much depth, along with Embiid and Simmons, that if they can make outside shots, it's going to make it difficult for Boston.
That's what really helped Boston in Game 1. They were on fire from outside. Raining threes, man. Terry was killing it. Al Horford hit a couple big threes even. Yeah, Aaron Baines hit a 3.
Man, and Baines can come up and make some things happen. Man, it's the system. It's like how it is similar to how over in San Antonio.
That's what I've always thought.
They know how to play basketball, and they utilize each other up to the highest potential that they can do.
Next man up. That's how Brad Stevens plays. On that series, of course, I'm biased. I'm a Boston fan, but I don't care. I don't think that, like last night, Terry Rozier, 29 points, Jason Tatum, 28 points, Al Horford, 26 points. The Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen big three never combined for that many points for the record. But that level of success isn't going to be consistent.
It's going to be hard to expect that.
I'm not going to bank on that. But
especially consider the caliber of players they are. I mean, Horford will be one person that you could think you could get like the most consistent out of him, and then
I think so.
Like Jason Tatum and Rozier being the younger players,
they're going to be streaky.
Yeah, but Rozier, if you have to choose between one of them, they, Rozier is going to bring it.
Oh yeah, but I think at the end of the day, our coaching and our confidence level, I think we're playing. We believe that we can win this series, and I think that's a huge thing for these young players. Like, they believe that they have what it takes to make the finals this year, and as long as they truly believe that, they're going to play with that intensity. They're going to lose a couple games in the series, obviously. Philadelphia is a great team. I'm picking Boston in 7 again.
I won't be surprised either. Like, if Boston somehow wins the series, I won't be mad, because they would deserve it, considering all the adversity and all the different injuries they've had throughout the season. That if Boston make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I'll be happy for them.
Yeah, I mean, coming into the playoffs, if you had said, "Oh yeah, you're going to beat Milwaukee, you're going to lose Jaylen Brown, and you're going to beat Milwaukee, and you're going to be playing Philadelphia
without Gordon Hayward or Kyrie Irving,"
yeah, I'd be like, really, even. When we made our last show, I wouldn't have had much confidence in Boston beating Philadelphia, but I don't know. It feels special. As a Celtics fan, this team feels special, and so that's why I'm picking them to win in 7 games. So we got our picks. My Eastern Conference Finals is going to be a rematch. Cavs and Celtics. You got Raptors and
I believe
Sixers.
Raptors and 76ers.
So I like that, but we're going to be right back, guys, and talk about some Eastern Conference playoffs. So stick around, or I guess if it's on YouTube, click on the next video. So
follow us.
Subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff, or whatever. We'll be right back, guys.